This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about Three Women from 1977, directed by Robert Altman. The tagline for this film, RJ:
Okay.
One woman became two. Two women became three. Three women became one.
What exactly does that mean? Jared? What does that mean?
An awkward young teen working at a spa becomes overly attached to her fellow worker, a lonely outcast. They hang out at a bar owned by a strange pregnant artist and her has-been cowboy husband. Amid emotional crises, the three women steal and trade one another's personalities.
Do they?
Well, that's what this synopsis says. Three women.
The three woman. Hey, is that anything like Swamp Woman from Roger Corman?
Yeah.
It's the same energy, right?
Same energy, same vibe. Much wow.
Nice. Much wow. Good job, bud.
So, Three Women is this movie. It's Robert Altman.
Yeah.
It's the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about Altman on this podcast before in passing, in our preambles. I love The Long Goodbye. I like that McCabe and Mrs. Miller. I like The Player. I've only seen MASH once, and I wasn't crazy about it. Even Nashville, I was kind of like, Nashville.
Is that a future creep?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, Nashville's
Yeah,
in
Nashville
there,
is. MASH is not.
Yeah. No, Nashville's in there somewhere, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Secret Honors some good stuff too. But I've never seen Three Women. And you look at the list of its influences on a lot of things that I like. People often do make some comments about Mulholland Drive.
Sure.
Which I find, they're just, having now watched Three Women, I find like they're so different. I guess like it could be related. They both happen in California and involve women and identity, but sure, it's there.
Sure.
But yeah, I went into this not knowing really anything about it other than I know some people who have watched this film and have had very strong reactions to it that are not in line with my Letterboxd follows. On Letterboxd, this is a very much loved film.
Is it?
Yeah. If the people I follow, I think it's like probably on average you're looking at 4 stars, which is pretty high.
Okay.
But
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I found that was striking. I'm like, okay, well, what am I in for? I mean, on paper, reading about this, I'm like, okay, this could be pretty good. So I own this on Blu-ray. I watched it for the very first time. I also watched, after a quick visit a few days earlier than I normally would, to Wikipedia to find out that there's sort of a loose connection of these, quote, feminine psychological films. This a sort of trilogy of these movies that Altman made that I was like, hey, I own Images. And listener of the show, Oliver Granger, recommended that I watch it, I do believe, not that long ago. And I was like, nah, dog. I gotta wait till Three Women Week. And so I did. But I was not familiar with the first of these movies, That Cold Day in the Park. So I did watch Images first, and then I watched Three Women. And then after watching Three Women, I followed it up with That Cold Day in the Park, which was shot in old Canada itself, Vancouver.
What? Why?
They just shot it there.
But why?
It's very gray there. It's very gray and unsnowy.
Is this a loose trilogy in the same way, like the Three Mothers of Argento, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, there is no connection between the three movies, like in a technical way, other than it's like there are movies that focus on female protagonists, and there's some sort of like something vague in their psychological presentation that's happening. We'll get there because we're talking about Three Women, which is like I guess the last part of this, which I'm sad to report at this point is the weakest of the three.
Nice.
And I would say is a movie that left me fairly disappointed. So this is described as a avant-garde drama film. RJ stars Shelley Duvall from The Shining, Sissy Spacek from Carrie, and Janice Rule, who, as far as I can tell, was not in any iconic horror movie. So that's sad.
Is she not?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. Wait, isn't she in The Shining? Sissy Spacek?
No, what? Shelley Duvall is.
No, Sissy Spacek's in The Shining. Shelley Duvall is in, I think it's Christine, and I'm pretty sure Janice Rule is in Salem's Lot, right?
Oh my God. Come on.
Right?
Come on.
Right, buddy?
She is in The Swimmer, which is an amazing movie.
Is that the one with Taye Diggs and Juliet, what's her name? You know that girl from the Bourne Identity movies, Julia Stiles?
Oh, remember her?
Or is that Swim Fan? Do you know Swim Fan?
I kind of remember Swim Fan.
Okay, Swim Fan, who's in this? Okay, it was neither of those people.
Wow.
It was Jesse Bradford and Erica Christensen. But I will maintain that Erica Christensen kind of looks like Julia Stiles.
Did you know, RJ, the three women competed for the Palme d'Or in 1977
against each other?
Oh yeah, I mean they don't even know which woman won the Best Actress award. Apparently it was Shelley Duvall.
For the same movie or for different movies?
For three women.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Am I RJ now?
Maybe. Are you confused?
I'm very confused.
Good. Continue.
So anyway, you know what movie Three Women reminded me of, weirdly enough? Punch Drunk Love. There's there's a look to this movie of hallways and characters chatting and stuff like that. And they're so different. But I also know that P.T. Anderson is clearly a Robert Altman fan because he made Magnolia, which is his love letter, I think, to Shortcuts, and that style of kind of like the multifaceted character study. So I was like, oh yeah, watching Three Women, there's just like a look to this movie that just like reminds me of that quite a bit. But after that, there's a real departure.
Sure.
So, Sissy Spacek,
who
post Badlands.
Okay. Yeah.
So she's Pinky Rose in this movie. She's this timid young woman, and she's going to work at this health spa, taking old people into this pool in this like California like small town that people just come to go for a soak, get some rehab. All the people that like run it seem to be like real jerks, and the people who work there all live in this sort of weird, dreary mindscape where they just like kind of don't care what's going on. There's these menacing twins that just don't talk, I don't think.
Oh, the twins from The Shining?
What are you talking about?
You see the connections I make here, Jarrett? No, they don't. I think they whisper to each other at one point. The twins.
Okay, I see.
I think.
Okay. Yeah. So Pinky's being shown the ropes by Millie. That's Shelley Duvall's character. And Pinky takes a real shine to Millie. She really likes the confidence of Millie. She's like kind of like always trying to position herself to be like this Pinky's a very lonely person and is trying to like make connections with the other employees at this health spa, but it's not really working. She gets to watch Millie, who's also trying to like make connections and talk to these coworkers and other women, and they all seem to be completely ignoring her no matter what she's saying. But she doesn't let that slow her down. She just kind of keeps talking and talking. She lives out of one of those California style, like they look like hotel rooms, but they're apartments. And there's like these men that she's apparently going to make dinner for that pay her no mind, and it all feels very depressing. But strangely enough, you read the reviews apparently from the time that this came out, where you have Roger Ebert and Vincent Canby talk about it's a funny movie. And
funny how?
Funny. I don't know. To me, I find that a very strange thing because I did not think a lot of what I was watching was funny.
There was a single scene that I laughed at, and I actually kind of laughed like out loud to myself. But other than the one scene, there was nothing I found funny about this movie at all. The scene in question, Jared, is when she's bringing Pinky to her house, and they're walking upstairs, and Pinky goes, "Who is that guy?" And she goes, "Oh, that's Tom." And then she goes, "Hey, Tom, how's the cold?" And he walks away kind of disinterested, and then he goes,
Yeah.
and then just keeps walking. And I thought that was fucking hilarious because you're like, look at how much he doesn't want to be around.
Especially in this COVID era.
Especially. But yeah, other than that, no, I found no humor to be had in any of this.
And this is the driest, most like ashen laughs imaginable.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
Except the comically large melon that Sissy Spacek is eating in the hospital. Did you see that thing? It was like an entire honeydew. Do you remember that?
I don't.
I got a picture. I'll send it to you.
Well, I mean, I guess like big laughs with when Pinky's parents show up and her dad being just like totally out of whack. Ha ha.
I wasn't sure how to interpret that scene. I was like, are they actually not her parents? I was like, what's going on here? I was confused.
You were confused. So one thing leads to another, and Pinky and Millie, they wind up becoming roommates.
Sure they do.
And hanging out, paying $50 a month to wherever it is. Like that seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I mean, they even have the amenities. They have a pool, Jarrett.
They have a pool.
Yeah. With a pretty rad inside painting on the bottom of the pool.
So the murals in this, that this third woman is making.
Some real BPRD type stuff,
who does not talk. Yes, this weird mythos that's being laid out before us. Never really lingers on it. Would it surprise you, RJ, to learn that Robert Altman came up with this movie in a dream?
No, it sounds like that's how most all the stories I hear now is that it was either the director dreamed it or the writer dreamed it, or they've been thinking about it for 20 years.
And they did it from their own memory.
They did it. That's like Neil Young. He doesn't write his songs, man. He remembers them.
Wow.
Astute Canadian film goers will know that little drop there. Right, Chair?
Nope. They still wouldn't.
No? Okay. Do you want me to explain?
So we got Pinky, Millie, and Willie.
Sure.
And I don't know.
But the real names are all Mildred, right?
Yes. I think that's the twist. The big twist.
Okay.
There's like a night where, how does it go? Pinky keeps like ruining Millie's like her groove thing, and yells at her, and says, "You should get the hell out of my life." Pinky does not take well to this, and she jumps in reverse into the swimming pool.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the reverse frames or whatever it was. I was like, "Whoa, did she fall out of that pool?"
Exactly.
And I was like, and it's just like it's being reversed, Jarrett.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reverse cards being slapped down in this bad boy.
There's a lot of mirrors. So someone really, people like to talk about that Bergman persona.
Sure.
That's going to get brought up an awful lot here as we're talking about this feminine psychological trilogy thing.
Do you want to clear that up right now? Because I haven't seen Persona because I'm waiting until we get to it.
So
are you just yes or no?
No, we won't.
Or is it more complicated?
I don't know.
It's fine.
I've seen Persona, but
sure.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. People love it even more than they love Three Women.
Swamp Woman.
So Pinky survives her attempt to kill herself, but falls into a coma. And her parents show up. This goes on for quite some time. Like we're talking like this is like 45, 50 minutes into the movie. And then she gets better. But when she gets better though, it's like her personality's changed. She's like suddenly very confident and has a swagger. She's like a real a sexy beast. She's on the prowl.
What, Jarrett?
And she's like suddenly hooking up with, I guess, is it Edgar, the film extra cowboy, or is it one of the other dudes? The another like homely
no, it's
man.
that guy.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because he's like the only guy that like actually pays them mind. I think, right? Like that's the thing, because she's always trying to invite everyone back to her house, but nobody ever really wants to come.
Right.
Because that's what happens before. Did you mention that, or did I just totally not hear that?
What's that?
The dinner party she tries to throw?
No, I didn't mention that.
Because that's what she tries to throw the dinner party. She's making pudding. She's making pigs in a blanket. She's making crackers with cheese cans on them. And Pinky accidentally spills some of that cocktail sauce on her shirt. And Millie really lets her have it. And in the process, Pinky's taking out the trash, and the people come up and they're like, yeah, we don't want to come hang out. And then she goes back and tells Millie, because obviously no one really wants to hang out with Millie. It's mentioned many times.
Yeah.
And then Millie's like, this is your fault, Pinky, because you look like a goddamn mess, you sloppy bitch. She says, you got sauce all over you. And so she leaves, and then she brings back that the cowboy guy.
Right.
He's the only one who pays attention to Millie.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she's trying to get people to come back all the time,
Right.
So anyways, that's and then Pinky feels bad. She jumps off. Then she's in a coma.
Yep.
And then she wakes up.
Yep.
And then it's that weird, gross thing you said about how she looks after she wakes up.
Well, she acts like she becomes a real sex beast.
Sure. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. Hanging out with that Edgar guy.
Mm-hmm.
So anywho, the roles reverse. Millie's trying to get Pinky back at work, but then there's this whole thing that no one even remembers Pinky, and that when Pinky applied for a job, she used Millie's social insurance number, and then Millie's like, well, fuck this. I don't like my friend being accused of doing something wrong. It was an honest mistake, and you people are horrible. I'm going to quit. And now we're all going to be unemployed together. That's
sure.
That's the solution to all problems.
It's kind of like us right now.
That's right. So, and then Willie, the pregnant lady, she doesn't talk. She goes into labor at some point here.
Well, so what happens, Jer?
Okay, hit me with this.
This is what's going on, Jer. Pinky is adopting this like fun new persona. She wants to be called Mildred, which is apparently her real name.
Yes.
She's smoking, she's drinking, she's hanging out with the pool people. She's basically living the life that Millie always wanted. Yeah. She's part of the crowd now, is what it appears. So she's hanging out, she's having fun. Whereas things start to shit on Millie now. It's a total recto reverso. Precto reverso. What are those crackers called? That's like half pretzel, half cracker. Precto reversos? Doesn't matter. So anyways, they really flip the switch. So Millie's getting annoyed with Pinky again. But then one night, Pinky, or Mildred, sorry, so she has a real bad nightmare. And she's like kind of snapping out of it, because she's like, I was trying to do this thing, but maybe it's not really her, or she had a nightmare and she's kind of changed her way or something. So she goes and she bunks down with old Millie, who is also Mildred. And then Edgar comes in, rummages through their fridge, opens a beer, and he says, all right, babes, let's get this party going. He said, I've had you. Let's put this shit together. Let's spin it like a pig in a blanket. See, it's imagery, Jared. It's foreshadowing. They get grossed out, and they're like, why are you even here? They're like, go hang out with your pregnant wife. And he goes, she's having the baby right now. She'll never know. Just come on, let's bone down. And they go, she's having the baby. And they're like, where is she? At the hospital? You should go be with her. And Edgar's like, nah, man. He's like, I left that bitch at home. He's like, let's do this, because I don't care. So then the girls are like, whoa. Millie's like, we got to go take care of this. We got to go help with this baby. So they drive out to the farm, to the Dodge City, the abandoned amusement park where they ride dirt bikes and shoot guns.
Right.
And she paints. And other Willie, she's having the baby, and Millie's like, oh shit, I gotta get this baby out. So she's like, all right, Pink, you gotta call the ambulance, because I ain't no doctor, but I'll try. So she tries to deliver the baby, Jarrett, where there is a wave of dreamlike sensation that passes over Pinky Mildred.
And throughout this whole movie, there's like times where there's like water,
a filter
swishing around in front of what we're seeing, because it's like a dream.
It's symbolism,
fluidity.
It's like it's poetry. It rhymes, if you get what I mean. So yeah, there is a very. It happens throughout, but this is a very like. It's a long shot that zooms into Pinky as the wave builds and kind of goes over her, and in that time, the baby is delivered, stillbirth, Jarrett, and Millie comes out and she says, "You didn't even try to call the ambulance," and then she slaps her, and you go, "Oh shit." And then time passes, Jarrett.
Yes.
Do you want to finish off the time pass, or would you like me to continue?
Oh, you go right on ahead. You're doing an excellent job, RJ.
This is what happens.
You're filling this movie.
Man, I got so much stuff here. So we got, I mean, I could have talked about these ape gill men being painted, the BPRD men, you know, they're like, booga booga. And you're like, oh shit, that's spooky. I don't know what that is. They got huge dongs. And it's a very scary dong one chasing 3 with breasts. It's like, are those 3 ape gill women? Who knows? Who's to say? So that lady, she paints the whole time. She's very quiet. And she's not on board with these guys shooting guns or dirt biking. But anyways, so we have a time jump and we get this Coca-Cola product placement, which I think is pretty expertly done. It's like, man, that's a good advertising for Coke right there. So this young guy's delivering Coke and he goes to the bar and you see young Pinky. She's even more childish than ever. And the Coke guy says, someone's got to sign for this. And Pinky goes, I'll get my mom. And she taps on the glass and you think it's going to be Willie outside, as happened earlier in the film. But it actually comes in and it's Millie. Wow. Not Willie. And she has adopted the role of mother hen, I think is what some people call that. She signs for it and then she says, Pinky, go on, get out there and you tell that old lady it's time for dinner. So Pinky and Willie sit on the bench for a while. They tell some stories, a little bit more cash. And then, the Coca-Cola guy, as Millie is signing, she says, man, that was damn shame that Edgar had that gun accident. You know, he was so good with guns. Who would have thought that he'd be the one to have a gun accident? And she goes, yeah, it's too bad. And then she goes and she makes the dinner for the other 2 women. And she says, come on in, girls. We are not 1 woman or 2. We are now 3 women. We are now Swamp Woman. So they come together in the end with new roles. What? Yeah, so Millie is the mother and Willie is the aunt and Pinky's the daughter now.
And scene.
And end the movie, Jarrett.
Yep.
To which I looked up and I went, huh? So what the fuck is this movie about? What is this?
Well, I just sent you a picture of the man who painted the murals in this. Okay. Bodie Wind.
Bodie Wind? That doesn't sound like a real name.
You go take a look at that. What you drink that in.
It's not what I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah.
This guy looks way more like Hang Loose than I was expecting, like an H.R. Geiger type dude, not this surfer boy.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Bodie. You don't name a guy Bodie without him being a surfer with a mustache, huh?
Pretty much. You get what you pay for.
Yes, yeah. So like the paintings are a big theme, and you don't really like. I guess it's just like actual literal imagery of 3 women being terrorized by the same guy.
It's dream imagery.
Sure. I thought they looked cool.
Yeah, some of them are quite nice.
They're fuzzy. They got scales and stuff. That one dude's got a huge dong just like ripping out all the time.
Huge dong.
Huge dong. So Jarrett, I was confused by this movie. Not that I found it like hard to follow or anything. Right. But when I was done, I was kind of like, what was the point of that? And I understand this dream logic where a lot of people are like, they're like, it's his dream, man. Dreams don't always make sense, and it's a metaphor for three people like coming together and like living out other roles. And it's like, I guess, but I was like, I don't even really understand that in the sense of the movie too, because it's like Pinky's like role reversal. It's like she goes from this super shy, timid person, completely flip the switch. And it's like, I know people can like sometimes change their image or like how they present themselves, but I was like, this feels like out of character for her a little bit, because it's like, it's so drastic. And I guess that's what people do too. I don't know.
Well, old Bob Altman, he said about this film, it's about empty vessels in an empty landscape.
I don't really feel that.
I mean, I'm like, okay. Is this some LaVentura times here?
Maybe. And I mean, he made the movie, so he can say whatever he feels like, but
I mean, sure, but at the same time, like, okay, well, I mean, tell me a better version of this story, please. Like, I don't know, like, it's doable, but yeah, I don't know. I felt like so underwhelmed by this. I was like, fuck. Like watching, I'm like, I drifted off, obviously. Mm-hmm. Like I was just like, oh my God, do I want to rewind this? I'm like, does it matter? Like, I don't feel like there's anything that, like, I don't know. This isn't that Juliet of the Spirits thing where I'm like, I feel like there's something here. Cause I don't know.
No, I know what you mean.
Hands up in the air is me. I don't know. I have not much to. I did this. Like I said, I like Robert Altman movies, but I guess even though I do like some experimentalness, I like some avant-gardeness. This just isn't grounded enough in anything for me, and I kind of go, this isn't my type of thing.
That's okay. I think that's totally fine. Like I think I'm pretty much right there with you, but don't you worry. You let Papa take it from here a little bit, because I got some dream theory analysis. I was talking about Freud earlier. I know what I'm doing here, Jer. I know what I'm doing. Actually, I don't have anything like that, but a few things. One thing that I actually think is pretty well done in this movie is you go from I can't remember where I heard this. It was in the last year or two, and it was either about movies or TV. But someone was talking about character development. This is going to drive me crazy. I'll try to think about it. I think it was about TV. And they're like, proper character development is like when you have a character that is either one thing and then turns into a different thing, or it's like a gradual thing in a cycle. And that's confusing. But the way what I'm talking about is with Millie, with old Shelley, not Shelley Duvall, other Duvall, right?
What?
What's her name?
Shelley Duvall, the one that's in this movie.
Yeah, with Shelley Duvall, you have a great character kind of like arc where it goes from, I think, absolutely like disliking a character to sympathizing for a character, because that's kind of how I went with her. Whereas like, I think she's so unlikable at first, because I think everyone's known one of those people, and like, you know, sometimes you are that person too, even unintentionally, where you're like trying so hard to be part of like a group or like be close to a person, and they really don't want it. And they do a really good job at showing her be like that with like everyone, where it's like, oh, these are all my friends, but no one talks to her, no one likes her. There's a scene where she's talking about like how she hates tomatoes, but then in the next scene she talks about like, she's like, I'm gonna go home and have a can of tomato soup. And it's just like the like ridiculousness of that. It's like, this lady doesn't even know what she's talking about. She hates tomatoes, but she loves tomato soup. And it's like, I get that. But anyways, you go from like disliking her to then you actually kind of sympathize for her, because when Pinky's like, not like when she's caring for her, because you're kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of, you reap what you sow a little bit. But then when she starts to like be mean to her, and then you're kind of like, oh, you almost feel bad for her now. So that's a very long-winded way of saying, I think there was a nice character arc for her, but the other things, like, I don't really understand the flip with Pinky. I was like, it was a little too much. And then Willie is like completely non-existent, and I guess that's his point.
Well, is it because vessel? Willie is the dreamer?
Maybe. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. So I think it does a good job with like that character, but I found on the whole, I was kind of just, it's like I said, I didn't find it like hard to follow. I was just kind of like, what is the point of this? Like, I don't know. It seemed like malign. It's just like, you're like, I'm all right. These people just doing shit, and then here you go, and then it's done. And like, what even happens at the end? Like, they kill Edgar, and then like that's it. Like,
Yeah,
is that it?
I guess.
And then they have a commune. I will. I'll tell you this, Jared. I was very underwhelmed by it, and I was a little bummed because I was like, oh, I thought it sounded like a cool movie.
Mm-hmm. It has a potential, but man,
It just wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what people are loving about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure people on YouTube will inform us.
Will let us know
how we're idiots.
I'm sure.
So, I mean, on the flip side, so I watched the other two of these thematic movies that belong to this trilogy. I'll more talk about maybe the Images first, because that's actually the first movie I watched, because that's what I was planning on, just was watching Images and Three Women, but then I wound up going back and watching That Cold Day in the Park. And Images from 1972, I think, is like a pretty terrific movie, particularly in comparison. It basically is a American giallo, which I'm pretty sure that no one wants to talk about Robert Altman making like an American giallo horror movie, but this fucking movie had like quite the goddamn jump scare, like where I was like, "What the shit?" Like the
screaming.
Yeah, particularly like when she embraces Odo, her husband.
Yeah. Udo Kier.
No, Odo from Deep Space Nine. You'll know him one day.
Okay. All right. I thought. Okay.
That's her husband, and they hug, and then there's this breakaway when she looks at her husband to discover it's another man, and she screams, and it's like, what the fuck? And then you cut away to this man, you're like, what the fuck? And just the intensity of it, it's like, whoa, what is happening here? And Images, hey, what a shock. This movie is filled with images, RJ, and some very great haunting images, particularly this one of our lead. I can't remember the name of the actress right now, but her like looking down on top of a kind of like a cliff face down across a river bottom to her cottage, and then of course she looks down as a car pulls up, and it's her getting out of the car, and you're like, huh, okay, but they keep going back to that, like time and time again. And you're just like, I don't know what this means. Susanna York. That's who it is.
Yeah, you don't know Susanna York, you idiot? She's in Superman.
She has such a different haircut here.
Idiot. Yeah, I didn't know who it was either, but
all I remember, I think, when I think of Susanna York is, she's in Tom Jones.
Oh, she's also in The Silent Partner, Jarrett.
There you go. So I don't remember her in that as much.
Now that I saw that she was in it, I do, because she's the female lead in Silent Partner. I forgot.
Oh, there you go. And this movie also with Rene Auberjonois, Odo.
Who doesn't love him?
He's a great man. Altman loved him. But it's also got Marcel Bouzoufi from The French Connection and Z as her dead affair lover, who now is like just showing up as a kind of a ghost. And he says, "Hey, you should point that shotgun at me." And then she shoots, and you're just like, "Whoa!" This movie just takes turns. And then like a family friend shows up and tries to have his way with her. He's a real like hunchback type.
Yeah, he's got a weird like his stature, like the way he stands. It's really like unnatural. Like he's got a really small torso or something. Like a really small torso. You wait and see. Also, Susan York was Alec Guinness's daughter in Tunes of Glory, Jarrett.
Oh yeah. Again, she doesn't like. I don't know.
She doesn't stand out.
She doesn't she doesn't have a particular look. I guess.
Plain and tall.
Not even though. It's like, but she just kind of was like, oh, she's just like this generically pretty blonde woman that could be anyone.
Sure.
That
could be you or me.
Could be you or I.
Sure.
Hugh Malaise. I'm just looking up is it Hugh Malaise who plays the guy that's like not leaving her? He's like in nothing.
I know Hugh Mungus.
Well, Hugh Malaise. He's like in McCabe and Mrs. Miller and like The Wicked Lady, and and which is oh shit, that's a Michael Winner movie. Hello, She Seduced, Robbed and Murdered. That was on her good days.
Wait, she was robbed and murdered?
Well, the Wicked Lady.
It sounds like the end of her story.
Played by Faye Dunaway.
Who hasn't Faye Dunaway played? Am I right?
Oh, what? It's got Alan Bates in it, who's like looks a lot like the guy that we're talking about, Hugh Malaise. Wow, what a
Humongous.
humongous, Lord Humongous.
I got you again. Get it?
Indeed. So yeah, I think Images is a super interesting movie, and it's got one of the best fake body drops of all time.
Which one?
The one where it's her body going over the waterfall.
Yeah, I don't think that was a fake body, dude.
Oh, you mean they were like, hey, this is going to happen no matter what. We might as well get it on film.
Well, I think Robert Altman's the kind of guy who goes for authenticity. So he's like, let's find a drifter, a homeless woman, perhaps, and let's throw her off the cliff.
Yeah.
We'll pay her $20.
Pay her $20.
You know? Yeah, Images is really good, dude. I think they do a super good job. The way they layer in like all of the like the schizophrenic things where it's like the stuff I thought was the most well done was when she's on the phone and it changes like who she's talking to as she's on the phone, and like the way that she kind of like bobs around never knowing like what's actually real. I was like, this feels like a super authentic representation of what people who are schizophrenic kind of describe it as, like not like being in tune with like with time, really, where it's like the people who are kind of walking around, they're lost and they like float back and forth. I thought it was a very, very good job. Very good job.
Yeah. And then so the earliest of these three movies, That Cold Day in the Park from '69. Mm-hmm. Here's the synopsis and tagline. How far will a woman go? Frances Austin, whose well-appointed apartment overlooks a park in Vancouver, one cold day observes a rain-soaked young man on a park bench whom she assumes is homeless. Hoping to repress her loneliness, Frances invites the boy inside her home to get warm and ends up encouraging him to stay. The young man accepts her every hospitality, food, clothes, profuse conversation, and a room of his own. Little does she realize that her guest is not the person he appears to be, nor, for that matter, is Frances the woman that she appears to be. So this movie is a little bit more straightforward, I guess. But the entire time you're watching it, you have no idea where it's going. It has a real like Images, it has a tension to it where you're like, part of it is like, because you don't know what's going to happen next, you're just naturally kind of drug along and you're like, I want to keep watching because I have no idea what's going to happen. It's a very exciting feeling, particularly in this period of time where I feel like a lot of movies you just watch, you already know what's going to happen by the end, and it's really pretty tedious watching like movies in theater because of that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the movie kind of takes advantage of the Vancouverness of the space, like when they're out in the outdoors. But I mean, it could be like any coastal place, like a San Francisco for the most part. And the interiors, I'm assuming they were probably shot also in a real location in Vancouver, but hard to say. It has a very different light. Vancouver, I always found, is like, even during the summer, it's a very gray place. The light is just weird, and I've commented on this before. Whenever I watch movies shot in Vancouver, the light is always kind of weird.
Maybe it was shot in an Arby's in Vancouver.
Mayhaps. This movie depicts probably one of the grodiest sex exchanges I think captured in film, and of course it happens in Vancouver. So what happens is, as the plot synopsis goes, this very lonely, well-off woman, her only friends, it seems, are like her dead parents' family, like her dead parents' friends. Like they're all old senior citizens, and she's kind of like in her 40s, and that this is her whole life. And she kind of sees this young man without like socks on out in the pouring rain, and she gets like on a flight of fancy, her helpers, her like maid and butler, they've left for the weekend, so she invites this guy up and she just keeps talking to him. He pretends to be mute, and just because this is something that he's done, I guess you learn later on, and he just goes along with it. And there's this like sort of like low key sexual tension that's there. There's this like obviously this opportunity for this to happen, but it never really happens. But then eventually, after like a prolonged like whole evening together, he gets kind of put into this bedroom, and then I think on the second night, he sneaks out, and you get to see his actual life, where he's from this like massive home where like there's like too many kids, and him and his like older sister, they basically are living like hippies, like in a communal sort of way, and they're just kind of like, you know, living life very loosely. And he like kind of can sneak in and out, and this woman, played by Sandy Dennis, she's like fine with this, I guess, because she's just that lonely that she's okay with this guy just coming and going, and like kind of pulling a fast one on her, I guess. There's a scene that I found strangely upsetting, as far as she buys him some new pants, and he just puts them on without any underwear. He just goes all commando, and I was like really aware. I'm like, he's going to get his eventually he's going to take a shit. He's going to get his shitty ass all over those pants. Because these were like very tight-fitting late 60s, 70s style denim jeans. And that's going to chafe.
Can you state your name again? Just for the record?
Robert?
No, not fair. Not fair. I don't know if you've ever seen the Mac DeMarco video where it's overrated, underrated, and they're talking about underwear. And he says underrated. He's like, doesn't matter. He says, I'm very diligent with how I wipe and how I clean myself. And he says, no matter what you do, unless you take a shower afterwards, he's like, you're never going to get it all. So he's like, that's what underwear is for. He's like, it's protecting your pants. So I feel like that's kind of in the vein of what you're saying, right?
100%.
Yep. I think that's fair. Are you going to get a bidet in this new no toilet paper world or what?
So that Cold Day in the Park movie that we're talking about, it like watching it really kind of solidified this sort of nebula of movies that even we've talked about, and they're actually all Criterion movies now that I look at it. But Knife in the Water, Midnight Cowboy, The Graduate, it's these movies are all coming out in the late 60s, and they're about like young men being kind of seduced, brought in by older women. And I'm like, is this like sort of like a statement of like the younger generation and like this sort of struggle against the older generation and the seduction of like materiality and like creature comforts, and like you can just have a nice comfortable life, you just have to give yourself over in a more metaphorical sense? And because these movies are often like dealing with like uncertainty of these youth cultures, of the youth culture of the moment, that at least that's when I feel like with Knife in the Water, which was I think 65, and I was like, I was watching it because like that movie I think really under delivered too, I think, when we talked about it, whatever it was, several months ago. But in the Cold Day in the Park, it just seems to work a lot better, but I love this like vibe that Altman's capturing, I think, really well with this images, and less so with Three Women, because Three Women it feels like it has almost no direction at all. Like it is like there is no plot, whereas the Cold Day in the Park, it doesn't really have much of a plot. In fact, I've seen some people criticize this movie for having no third act, because it kind of just ends on this note where you're just like, oh shit, it feels way more real and serious when it ends that way, and it doesn't give you any resolution or closure. But yeah, there's some like scenes there just like fuck, and more like people getting stabbed in chests. That seems to be a thing. Maybe that's what Three Women was missing for me. No one's getting stabbed in the chest.
I mean, there's a dead baby in Three Women.
Yeah, but I mean, dead babies, dime a dozen.
Sure, I know you're a fan. Hey, having not seen A Cold Night in the Park, my only guess is that maybe it's about the matriarch, Jarrett, and old England.
The olden times.
And the seduction of being protected by the queen.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I mean? Maybe it's Shakespeare, or maybe it's just Oedipus complexes.
And all these... and Vancouver.
Sure, where else are you going to find it?
Where else, indeed.
I mean, that one sounds good. I would have liked to watch that one too, because I did like Images quite a bit. And like Three Women, it's like you said, people are going to people won't get this far, I'm sure, into the episode and before they start shitting on us. I thought it was fine. It was just, it's kind of like you said, it's like almost directionless. And I know people are gonna be like, that's the point, man. And it's like, it's very clear. It's like, I know that too. I know what the movie's about. I know what happens and why it happens. It's just like, my point at the end was, I was like, what is it? What's the point? What's the point of this?
This is some real Night of the Hunter stuff.
Exactly. What is the point of that movie? You know what? We're gonna get more hate for that movie.
I know.
Than any movie
In the build, the slow build of
of the burial of that movie that is beloved by everyone.
Everyone but us.
So it's not good, you guys. We'll get there, okay?
One day. 5 years from now, stick with us. And we'll have to watch it again and be like, yeah, I know. I get it. It looks really nice.
What, Night of the Hunter?
Yeah.
It's fine.
It looks very nice. But
hey,
you want to hear about who hates Three Women? Hates?
Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a bit.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Half a star from Jake Malls.
Huh. Okay.
I've truly never been so bored by a film that I became frustrated. Truly frustrated. This shit was so boring. It drained me of my mojo, baby. Oh, come on. The last time I was this bummed out by my dislike for a movie was fucking Cold Pursuit. That shit sucked, and this sucked more. People said, wait till the third act. Wait till the third act. What the fuck was I waiting for? The most boring shit for an hour and a half would not be saved by an incredible third act. And unfortunately, the third act of this was dog shit. Fuck, I'm so goddamn mad this shit pissed me off. Sorry, fuck. I hope I have the energy to watch a movie again.
I mean, I think that's a bit much, Jarrett. I think it's a bit much for a person who gave 8th grade and Mandy of 5 stars. I think it's a bit much. I mean, this
movie's got more in common with Mandy than a lot of things.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, this person actually has a lot of similar interests to us, like The Fly, the other 5-star films, The Fly, The Lighthouse, Uncut Gems, Videodrome, Blade, Jarrett. That's right, my friend. But I don't know. Let's have a peek at these half-star films. Oof. Not good, my man. Okay, so half star to Three Women. Another half star to Roar from 1981, the Lion Big Cat movie.
Mm-hmm. That
is not a half-star film, my friend. Not a half star at all. And like other things in here, Blood Harvest with Tiny Tim. It's like, I don't know if that's half stars.
No.
What about The Fanatic with
come on.
There's something I like there, right?
It's got a little bit of something for everybody.
Sure it does. Why not?
Yeah. Next up is The Return of Dr. Christmas.
Whoa, that's pretty. Wait a minute. Do you think that Justin knew?
I don't know. Half a star. What the heck did I just spend 2 hours of my life watching? I hated it. It was dumb. Now I'm mad at this movie. Everyone's so mad. I wasn't mad. I was just like, huh.
Well, it's kind of like I said. It's like, well, it was like, what's the point? I don't know. Like, yeah, I wasn't mad either.
You know what? I bet you people love writing papers about it.
Oh, sure.
There's probably tons of material to write about this movie.
Yeah, and Dr. Christmas has a ton to talk about, too. I think they've updated their bio since, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
When we were talking about it?
I think a week ago.
Yeah. Their watch list is La Ventura, which I find hilarious. Do you want to hear this weird I don't know if this is even interesting. Who am I? I'm just a guy who really, really likes movies. I love them more than food. I'm pretty opinionated, but I try not to be snobby. I enjoy all kinds of genres, Jarrett. From something like Starship Troopers to The Time Traveler's Wife. I watch a huge variety of things, but I have a particular fondness for anime and its general gleefulness to go completely insane. There's a bunch more here, but I'm not going to read any of that. I'm just going to go ahead and go to other half-star films, which include Three Women, Amarcord, 12 Years a Slave, Battle of Algiers, and then the only one that's actually maybe where it belongs, Beyond the Black Rainbow. Just because. But, I mean, 5-star films, it looks like it's just anime. Pacific Rim, because, of course. Vampire Hunter D, that's a pretty cool movie, but I don't know, man. I don't know Dr. Christmas. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, it's not a 5-star movie. Get out of here.
1.5 star from Ethan Peterson.
Ethan Peterson? Do you think there's any relation?
Well, it's slightly different spelling.
Okay.
I didn't get it, but that doesn't even matter to me in this case. Out of the Altman films I've seen so far, this is the most bloated and dull experience, the worst shot, the worst acted, by far the worst scored, and the most empty. It didn't engage me at all. Everything felt like it was thrown in without thought or purpose. There was also no sense of place or environment like in Altman's other films. Everything felt very static, but not enough to be interesting and unnerving.
This guy likes anime too. Which, I mean, I like anime too, but it's I find it humorous that so many of these people are just big anime boys for whatever reason,
and they're watching three women.
Women. I mean, like, some of this person's 5-star films like kind of make sense, like Full Metal Jacket, Come and See, Stalker. Those are like 5-star films for this person. Mm-hmm. So it's like I can see kind of how you got here, but I mean, they also gave Call Me by Your Name 5 stars, Jarrett, and Images 5 stars.
See,
but Roma and The New Suspiria 5 stars.
Yeah, no, Images is the goods.
Images is the goods.
Yeah, that should be in the Criterion, but it's only in whatever Arrow Academy. That's what it's on.
Oh, it doesn't sound very interesting. Whatever that is.
Arrow? You certainly borrowed many an Arrow video.
Wait, Arrow is actually full title is Arrow Academy.
Well, they have a different line. They have Arrow Video, which they put like their movies that you've borrowed, but they also have Arrow Academy, and that's their Criterion line. I think I could be totally wrong on Images though, but I know that they do have their secondary line.
Okay. That's where I was thrown off there for a second. I was like, Arrow Academy? What the hell is that? Hey, you know where else this person's wrong? They gave half a star to Watchmen. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
But actually, this person and the last person both gave The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a half a star.
I was right. Arrow Academy.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Huh. Weird.
Classic.
Weird. Oh, my God. Jarrett.
What?
I'm not going to read it all, but... I just noticed one of their popular reviews is for The Rise of Skywalker, and it's half a star. The first word is "I'm furious." So I'm just gonna leave it at that. But this person's got, I mean, that movie does suck, but like, damn, this guy's furious, dude. Furious. Talking about Tenet and The Irishman in the review. What the hell are you doing? How does that relate it to Rise of Skywalker?
I was like, here's another 1.5 star from Jessica. Ugh, okay. Fuck this movie. Like, I somewhat enjoyed the first hour, but it goes on and on and on. Then it gets really fucking weird and pointless. Slow burners are fun, but my God, let there be a payoff.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
there's definitely people who like talk about, oh, I mean, the movie is really slow burner, but then it takes that turn and when the other shoe drops, and my goodness, you're in for a ride. You're like, what shoe? What drop?
Which shoe? I'm actually on board with Jessica's 5-star films: Django, Boogie Nights, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Pretty good stuff. And I don't know. Actually, they don't rate a lot of stuff. Ooh, 1 star to Lost Highway. Yikes. But 1.5 stars to Hereditary. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Oh, 1.5 stars Grand Budapest Hotel. Yikes.
Well, any other thoughts on 3 women? Go watch Images instead.
Yeah, and it's like, it's what you pointed out. I suspect we're gonna get bullied for this on the internet, but whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna be cyberly bullied, I think.
It's whatever. Go watch all those movies people talk about, Persona, Mulholland Drive. Just watch those instead because they're clearly better.
Yeah. Watch Punch Drunk Love.
Sure. I never picked up that connection, but
it's just like
it's a good movie.
There's just like there's something about the colors that reminded me of it. And obviously they're very different, but I think there is like a kind of a desaturated quality to this. Like I don't know. Again, I'm colorblind, so like maybe I see colors a little bit differently, but I found like there was a palette that was like on, and like the emptiness of the California landscape, the isolation and loneliness of the characters. I think there's a little bit there. And that old PT, he's a real cinephile, a real weirdo. And I guess maybe that's the best thing that he got out of this movie was Punch Drunk Love.
You're colorblind?
I am.
Have you ever mentioned that on the show before?
Probably. I don't know. Idea. Hey, I'm colorblind.
Oh, okay.
After the break, this episode abruptly ends but there's water in your ears.
Just wait for the other shoe to drop, Jarrett.